Now, there's also consequences for the two different ways of knowing and perceiving reality, all right? Where when we see the world of objects as separate, as the world as objects, as separate and distinct objects, that right away can support more of a power play, where we want to position this one object over and above that object, and we create these hierarchies of superiority, of the survival of the fittest, that this object supersedes over that one at the expense of that one, right? There are a lot of profound consequences when we relate to reality simply as separate objects. And this is then the basis of our sense of justification for war, economic exploitation. So many of things that are a downfall in the world today really are rooted in this idea of separation and disconnect from one and the other. That, of course, is also the basis of isolation, of loneliness, an immense source of pain when people experience total disconnect and separation from others. I mean, that's what we create prisons for, is to isolate people. It's seen as the worst punishment we can give because of the pain of loneliness and separateness and disconnectedness, right? So there's consequences of that way of knowing and way of being, because it becomes a way of being in the world. The other way of knowing, being out of connectedness, it can be such a source of joy, of participation in life. And when you're really feeling that you're in it and with it, there then can be that sense of fulfillment that comes from a sense of connection. This is why we so crave intimacy, love, a loving union, to really become one with another, with the lover, is one of the greatest quests that we have as human beings, is this hunger for oneness and union with another, because it can bring such amazing and deep sense of fulfillment and a sense of at-homeness. We need that sense of connectedness, right? Psychologically, we very much need it. So there's consequences at a psychological level, and then also pragmatically in terms of how we relate to people in this world. Do we feel we can go around killing others and exploiting life on this planet and destroying it if we actually feel a connectedness with all of life and experience this sort of mystical oneness with all that is? And as you do so, when you feel truly that this is all a big we, a big us in all of this, there is no me versus you. It's all about us. We're all on this one family. This whole planet is all of our home, and we're all connected to each other. You then definitely want to take care of this planet and each other. It matters what happens in this world, and you want to honor and respect and care for and treasure all of life when you have that sense of connectedness. Right? Profound consequences in these. They're basically two different paradigms, two different ways of knowing, two different ways of relating to reality that often get juxtaposed, and yet really they can complement, but they need to find how they fit in and where they fit in and their place in the larger spectrum of things. Okay? Einstein's quote, there are two kinds of people: those who see the universe as hostile and those who see the universe as a friendly place. And again, they're tied in with this, with what I'm talking about, is that if you have the paradigm of seeing the world as separate, that you are separate and disconnected from the world, and everything is a separate and disconnected object from each other, it also then can easily support this idea that it's all about survival of the fittest. And with that is the sense that this world is a dangerous place, is hostile. I have to go through it in a defensive, protective mode. I need to be on guard at every move that somebody just might get me. All right, the world is out to get me. Others are out to get me. And I need to protect and defend myself. That all comes out of this sort of this mind frame of separation and disconnection and separateness. And so then the world is seen as hostile and threatening. And what is then your modus operandi here? You are fear-based in your motivation. Your goal is self-protection. Why? Because you're afraid that you won't survive. You're afraid, you're always being threatened, and therefore you're always in defense because everything is seen in a hostile way. So then what happens? End result is you go through life just trying to get through. You just want to survive with minimal damage getting through life. And so you're in this protective mode. And so the goal then is just crass survival and self-protection. End result, small life, small person, small self, all right? You won't be growing, you won't be expanding, you're all about defense protection. You're going to stay in your comfort zone. You're just out to make sure nothing bad ever happens. And so the less you do, the safer it is. The less you could become, the safer it will be. It's less threatening. So you just stay small, right? But if you see, as Einstein said, the other way, that you see the universe as a friendly place. You see that, you know what, life is good. Even though it has its difficulties, life is good. And you have that perspective. And you go out into life with the sense that it is good and I can embrace it. I can be open to connecting with life out there instead of being defensive and fearful and having to push it away and protect myself and be separate from what is. It's like, no, I can open my heart and being and embrace it, all right? And it's the path of courage, all right? The path of courage. And you then can go forth in embracing of life, and you're not out just to survive, but through embracing, you grow, you expand, and you will thrive as you engage and participate, experience and explore. And yes, it can be difficult, it might be painful, it goes up and it goes down, but you'll always just be able to process and integrate and grow and expand. And your life will get bigger and you will get bigger. The self becomes bigger in this growth expansion process. And this is fundamentally the nature of life. Life is meant to grow and expand, all right? And this is what our journey is to involve, is this whole process of expansion and growth. So, this is just some extra commentary on the blog that I'm just putting forth, all right? Okay, take care. I hope you read it because it's all a bit different too. Okay, bye-bye.